Hey YouTubers, I'm Jared. This is Omnivore Blade Works. It is Valentine's Day tomorrow, and I wanted to show you what's going on in the grinding room. I've been working on grinding some 1095 blanks, and there's a lot of different processes that go into these because there's different facets on different knives. Like this one's got a false edge on the back that's a 45 degrees on both sides, so you got like a 90-degree angle there. You can see it's square, and so I end up using a work rest on the Wilmot grinder. There's one work rest right there, and that's adjustable with different angles. So there's one thing, and then also there's other different angles on the false edges or the spines. So this one gets ground with two different grits before you move on to the other stuff. And then this blade blank obviously has all square corners, but you can see there's a chamfer that's been cut in, and I do that on a router table with a carbide burr, and I round over these little nubs. And then also after all the grinding is done, so I leave myself, I do the most manual process after I do the grinding process, because if I screw up on the grinding the blade, obviously I don't want to waste my time doing all a bunch of handwork on these little nubs, making everything perfect, so that when everything fits together it's nice. So you see that's ground one side, and I make sure that I do one side perfectly and cut to the center line before I move to the other side, so I have a good index and I don't go too far because I can't see the center scribe line. On a blade like this, where there's a big curve, like the belly of the blade you see there, that can be a little challenging because all of this is freehand ground, and going around a corner, or you add a belt, grinding belt, you've got this placed upon the grinding belt, and you're looking down at this angle, and you're pushing on it. I would have a hand pushing on this surface here on the outside and wrapping the belt around that curve. So it takes a lot of practice to get this right. And then even more challenging is, well, an inside corner's pretty daggum challenging too. This hook bill on the karambit, getting that inside corner's harder with a 2-inch wide belt. I'd really like to get a 1-inch wide belt sander at some point. Excuse me. And this is a Wakizashi, and you can see that my offset line from where my thumb is on the edge up to the area on the flat, as I come towards the point, it gets wider, which means I twisted this angle as I went towards the point. And the reason I did that is because I'm going to, after I get on one more belt probably, and do maybe some hand sanding on this primary bevel, I'm going to take my calipers and scribe a line that's actually an offset line, so it's all the same parallel or concentric arc all the way up here. And then I'm going to take this plane and I'm going to grind it down so that I meet that mark up here and make a distal taper. I've done that on one blade so far. It turned out pretty good, so I got 3 more to go. And that's the way I'm going to do all these tantos as well. I've already gotten that one done, the grinding part. And you can see what I'm talking about here. Hopefully, there's the other line. See, there's an offset line, and there's that's concentric, the lower line, and then the higher line, which is going to be what I use to create the distal taper. So that's what's on the agenda for tomorrow and the next day. Anyway, I thought I would just explain a couple things, and hope you got a little bit of knowledge out of this video. I've been using this cool misting system from Israel called a Noga. It works great, but it also creates a problem, which is, pardon the jerkiness of the video right now, it creates some dust. It's metal dust that sticks to the wheels. So you can see there's on this idler wheel and on my contact wheel on the upper side, you can see this shiny stuff. And even back on the drive wheel, I've got a bunch of goopy metal particles that are congealed and sticking to my wheels. And it can make the grinder run kind of rough and make a lot of weird noise. So I've been running it dry to eliminate that issue. And when I run it dry, more particles are in the airborne, and they go into my dust collector. And a little bit more stuff gets on the floor too. I have not been running my primary dust collector through that pipe because it's just horsepower I don't have to use while I'm grinding. So if you have any ideas about how to mitigate the buildup here, let me know. I'm using a Cool Mist solution with this Noga system, which works great. And because you can see, oh well, that's supposed to be lower. But anyway, if you have a nozzle coming in from both sides, then you can still see over it and not have the nozzles interfering with your vision. So definitely recommend double nozzles if you're going to use a mister system. Alright, that's all I got for you. Well, also have these new handy opossum knives that are in process. I'm getting some tumbling media, and I'm going to tumble the hell out of these suckers after I've done a bunch of file work on them to do a nice rounded over handle. This is going to be a fully exposed tang knife, neck knife, and this is also a fully exposed tang knife, which is going to be like a bottle opener and a wrench and a little camp kitchen knife. That's the Hungry Javelina. Alright, see you next time.